How to discipline a child with ADHD and autism. Hey there, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Charlotte with Colorful Teaching for You. I'm so excited that you're here. Many people struggle with disciplining children with ADHD and autism because their brain works a bit differently. So how we approach discipline is going to have to be different as well. So we have to understand, before we talk about how to discipline our children, we must understand why they're behaving the way they do. Now, not all children behave this way, but for the most part, if your child is misbehaving in some way, it's not necessarily related to the fact that they really don't want to listen to you because they want to be defiant or because they're being lazy. That's usually not it at all. The reason many of them either have meltdowns is because of emotional dysregulation, or they might be having difficulty with executive functioning skills, or perhaps it's impulsivity in that moment. So we need to be able to focus on disciplining our children from a place of understanding and compassion instead of from a place of frustration. Now, I get that this is tricky because you might be exhausted. You might be at your wit's end. I've been there. I totally understand this. This is why I've created these outlines, and I actually post them up close by so that I can look at them and remind myself as well, especially when I'm struggling with my own emotions. Okay, so the first one actually helps me a lot, because when my students start to have big emotions, I do too in that moment. And so I have to remember the first step: to remain calm, consistent, and clear. What I mean by that is, if your child is in the midst of having a meltdown, you need to take a deep breath and calm yourself down. Because if you start to yell at them and it will start to escalate. Your children will feel that energy. It'll rile them up, and then you're going to have them go into such a huge meltdown. It's going to be hard for them to come down from it, and you might end up being in tears as well. I don't want that for you. So it's why I'm asking you to calm yourself down before you approach your child. Once you've both calmed down, focus on creating structure and boundaries with your child to ensure that they are actually listening to your to the consequences and the issues that you are talking about. We're also looking at, do the consequences meet the problem? For example, instead of taking away television privileges because your child was screaming at you, actually address what was going on. And before you address it, you need to have them calm down. So I would say, instead of saying, you're not going to be watching TV because you're yelling at me, I would say, in this house we don't yell, and let's calm ourselves down first, and then we're going to talk when you're ready to talk in a calmer tone. Okay, because you don't want to be giving them a consequence unnecessarily without even knowing where the problem is. So let's wait until they are calmer. Then I want you to focus on positive reinforcement. Now, I know you might be thinking, why am I giving them positive reinforcement when they just started screaming or they're doing, XYZ? The reason for this is because even though your child has made a poor choice, we need to be able to assess the behavior first. In order to do that, we need to get them to be more receptive to what we are saying. Okay? And the way to do that is to praise them. Now, it might be hard to find something to praise them about, especially when they're in the midst of a big emotion, but I want you to be able to look really deeply and look at what positive thing might they have done in this difficult situation, and make sure you're specific about the praise. So it's not just, good job there, friend. It's, you did such a wonderful job when you walked away from this situation. I know you were angry, but you walked away, and I'm very proud of you for that. Okay? So when you do this, when you let them know, oh, hey, I noticed you did something really good there, it allows them to be more receptive to what you have to discuss. It allows them to be more receptive to any of the consequences that you might outline for them. Okay, so it's really important for them to be able to hear that you saw something good in maybe a difficult situation. It also helps them calm down at a quicker pace. Okay, step number 3 is teach self-regulation. Like I mentioned, one of the reasons a lot of children struggle is because of emotional dysregulation. So we need to teach them how to manage their big emotions. We can't, like I mentioned, we're going to go and calm ourselves down and then talk in a calmer tone. Well, they're not going to be able to do that if they don't know how to do that. They're just going to scream even more until they get really tired. And this might go on for an hour, 2, 3, we don't know, right? Well, you know your child. It depends on each situation. So we need to teach them how to self-regulate, and usually the best time to do this is not when they're having a meltdown. Teaching them needs to happen before they have that meltdown. So while they're in a calmer space, that's when you teach them, and then they already have the tools necessary. So now when you want them to calm down, then then you have them self-regulate in that moment. So how do you do this? I want you to go to the link in the description where it says full episode. Go to step number 3, and I've actually outlined some resources for you. You're going to choose the one that works best for your individual child, and it'll outline exactly how to create a space for them to self-regulate, and how to teach them how to self-regulate, and also how to manage their emotions, how to understand, how to voice and manage their emotions. Now, if you want more of a hands-on method, because this is just a quick resource, you are welcome to scroll all the way down to on that page and join the self-regulation course, because I will walk you through exactly how to do that. Okay? Now, the next step number 4, is to choose the behavior to correct. Children with ADHD and autism get corrected all of the time. If you keep on doing it, it's going to get to a point where they tune you out, and that's not what we want. So instead of correcting every single problem that arises, and honestly, to me, this is a universal thing for any child, choose a specific behavior that they are working on that you need to correct, and then be specific about which one it is. Maybe you're working on them screaming. Maybe you're working on punching for that week because they're punching kids. Whatever it is that you're working on, mostly focus on that, unless of course there's another big emotion that you need to work on, another big problem. If it isn't huge, let that go for right now and focus on that big problem. You maybe need to have a discussion about the small ones, but focus on one problem at a time. This way your children will not tune you out. They will actually be able to listen to the consequence, because at this point they will have seen, oh, every time this happens, this is the consequence. Every time this happens, this is the consequence. They know exactly what's expected. It becomes a habit after a while, and that's what we want to create. It's just much more manageable for them as well. Okay, so I personally reserve discipline, like punishment discipline, for things like safety issues, because that's big. For really, really big, massive problems, or for issues of kindness, like kids are bullying each other or something really big there. Otherwise, I focus on different forms of discipline. Perhaps it's calming ourselves down because they need to learn how to regulate. Perhaps it's we discuss different ways of managing a specific problem, so that we have the tools, or not we, but our children have the tools that they need for if this same problem arises again. And again, if they do it again, we talk about it again, because let's face it, most children don't remember to correct the behavior on first try. It needs to become a habit, which is why I stated we should focus on one problem at a time. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. Let's review everything that we've talked about today. We've looked at the importance of disciplining our child in appropriate ways. We've also looked at 4 strategies to do that. Number 1 is to remain calm, clear, and consistent. Number 2 is to focus on positive reinforcement. Number 3 is to teach self-regulation. And number 4 is to choose the behavior to correct. All right, thank you for joining me again. I hope you had a wonderful time. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. In the meantime, remember to create, experience, and teach from the heart. Take care, my friends, and I will see you again, same place, same time, next week. Take care.